Are you not entertained?
Yes, sir! We'll have a real good time!
He's Dave, and I'm Dallas, and this is Vintertainment. We have opinions on just about everything. Sometimes those opinions are spot on. Sometimes they go down easier with a glass of wine. This is Vintertainment, the wine and entertainment pairing podcast. Welcome back to another wine and entertainment pairing for your Vintertainment. This is the podcast where we pair wine with entertainment. It's as simple as that. We always know what we like or dislike, but we rarely know why. So what better way to learn about that than by comparing different wines to different types of entertainment and compare and contrast how they both hit us and affect us the way they do. I'm Dallas, a professional writer and world builder.
And I'm Dave, your WSET Level 3 certified wine professional. And so I will introduce everyone to the wine trivia question of the week. In 2020, during our own most recent pandemic, or quote-unquote plague, known as COVID, which wine variety overtook Chardonnay in both volume and sales in the U.S. for the first time? Is it A, Sauvignon Blanc, B, Cabernet Sauvignon, C, Pinot Noir, or D, Riesling? Which of these wines overtook Chardonnay for the first time in both volume and sales in the U.S. during the plague known as COVID? Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, or Riesling? To answer this question and then also find out the answer, head over to our Substack, vintertainmentstudios.com, find this post on Plague House, and cast your vote in the poll, then scroll to the bottom of the post to see if you got it right. There will be an answer down there with even a little bit of extra information on why, which one is the right answer, like how much did it surpass Chardonnay? We'll let you know right there. So head over to vintertainmentstudios.com.
And now, let's get on with our focus today. In an interview, the creator of today's 4-issue comic book series is quoted as saying, "I swear I saw a ghost as a child, floating in the living room of my family home. I wasn't dreaming. The man bobbed in the corner, staring at me wordlessly, pleading for help. Plague House is about answering that call and discovering the true nature of hauntings, imprinted memories, and the demands places can make of the living." And I personally, Dallas, the co-host of this podcast, couldn't fucking agree anymore if I tried. That's right. Today's pairing is with the Oni Lion Forge Publishing Group, or OLFPG, title Plague House, written by Micchael W. Conrad and illustrated and lettered by Dave Chisholm.
Released in April 2025, so it's been recent. It's just this year. In fact, it just wrapped up not too long ago because it was four issues, 4 months. Plague House issue 1 began the 4-issue limited series that's been electrifying readers with its horror genre mashup style. On top of reviving their EC Comics line, Oni Press had intentionally fostered a slate of genre-colliding projects from acclaimed creators to hit the market in 2025. And Plague House, from Conrad and Chisholm, is one of these titles.
The story is as follows. Get ready for a dramatic trailer-style reading here, guys. It's been 13 years since Orrin McCabe was accused of killing his family in a gruesome Hammer-centric scene. As he sits on death row, an intrepid yet motley crew of ghost hunters take up the task of investigating the house where the murders happened to determine if some otherworldly force could have fueled McCabe's rage. Soon, something much more insidious makes itself known and must quickly be contained before it spreads and capitalizes on America's thirst for violence, which would undoubtedly spread like a plague across the land.
Woo! Spooky.
Spooky.
No, that was good. That was good. That was
melodramatic
good.
and spooky.
All right, before we wade into this piece, let's get to the wine pairings. What you got, Dallas? Kick us off. What are you pairing with Plague House?
Okay, this one was a difficult one for me. I eventually settled on something spicy, right? This usually I like to take that um, contrasting route to pairing sometimes, but I
Hmm.
wanted something that was spicy. When I was reading this, it was, and by the way, guys, Dave recommended this for this pairing this time, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it kind of lines up with the type of stuff I write personally, the kind of world I'm really immersed in at the moment.
Yep.
So kudos to that. And when I think of this kind of mashup, this kind of genre mashup, we'll call it, it leaves me a little spicy. It feels so spicy when I'm reading it. And that's the kind of thing, even with food, if there's a little spice in something, it kind of implores you to keep eating and keep reading and keep ingesting it. And I wanted a wine that kind of did that as well, because it is a very brief series. I mean, again, 4 issues, as Dave said, which just concluded last month. Dave, I think last month feels right. Yeah.
No, it's longer ago than that, but it would have been what,
Okay.
March, April, May, June. So June.
Oh, so June, July at the latest. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it is a tidy bite. It is a mouthful. I originally thought I was going to go with a Merlot, but I did not. I wanted, but mostly because, and I hate to say it, but how to say this?
It's
How
too
to
smooth.
say
Merlot
this?
is way
It's
too
too
smooth.
smooth. Yeah, you go. Thank you. That's why you're here. Damn it. Merlot is
I'll
too.
say it the nice way. I'll say it the nice
Yes,
way.
that's true. That's actually very true. We work well together. You can be my filter sometimes. That's um anyway, I wanted something that was kind of decadent, kind of dangerous, kind of spicy. Um and I chose a 2018 Syrah. Um it is the chocolate note in there is very mysterious. You get that strawberry and that plum, and it just it complemented this fucking piece so well. When it ended, I was like, oh no, 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 this is a problem. This can't end. I need more. I need more. I need
Yeah,
more of this.
yeah.
I need, and that is a
Uh-huh.
very rare statement for me.
Yeah.
And Dave can attest to that. Anyhow, I chose the Red Car Sonoma Coast Syrah 2018. Uh, it was it was on the pricier side. It was like $36. I believe K&L has it here for anyone who's local, regional to California. But you can find it just about anywhere. It's got, like I said, all the things you want from a solid Syrah, just like this piece has everything you want from the horror genre, because you get a little bit of everything in this piece, even though it's very brief. This kind of genre mashup is just so satisfying, and it leaves me. It's a little spicy on my sort of reader's palate, and this wine is also a little spicy and perfect, perfect match and pairing for me. So that's what I got.
All right. Sweet. Yeah. So I'm with you on, like, when you said Merlot. I mean, just internally, I was like shaking my head. I'm like, no, 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 no.
Right.
I like Merlot better than you, but I'm like, no, completely not the right
Yeah.
fit. It's not the right style. It's not the right. You need something spiky. Like Syrah's got the pepperiness, right? And
Yeah.
Syrah's got a little bit of that, the florals and like the layers and like
Yeah.
something that's gonna poke you a bit and stand
It's
out. And
true.
so yeah, you need something strong, something stronger than a Merlot. And most Merlot, I think they can be pleasant AF,
Hmm.
but the pleasantness is too pleasant. It's too
Yeah.
round. It's too
Yeah.
smooth. So the strength of Merlot doesn't match the strengths of this story, of this comic. So for me, very similar. logic to my pairing. In one of our previous horror story pairings, in fact, our very first book pairing, we covered the novel Benighted, right? You know, AKA The Old Dark House. And we covered that classic 1930s movie adaptation of the novel in that same episode for the most part. So everyone go check out the Benighted episode to hear. And that, by the way, that is Benighted without a K. That is BNIGH. TED. So be night, the night befalls you, be night ed. Go check out that episode to hear our take on both the movie and the novel. But in that one, I paired Benighted with a coffee Amaro.
Yeah.
And Plague House gave me very similar vibes in certain ways. It needed something bitter and strong, yet exciting, and balanced with a certain sweetness as well, because it's just a very exciting read. It's challenging, but not unpleasant, just like a good Amaro. So I chose Amaro Sfumato, Rabarbaro. This is a hard one. Amaro Sfumato Barbaro. Rabarbaro. There we go. Rabarbaro. I'm getting it. Amaro Sfumato Rabarbaro.
You sound like a lawnmower which won't start.
It's so hard. It's so fucking hard. Amaro Sfumato Rabarbaro. So, you know, in this Amaro, I've got the bottle here. I can kind of show it on screen for the social medias. But this bottle, Amaro means bitter, Sfumato means smoky, and specifically in reference to Renaissance painting, the transition between light and dark. And then Rabarbaro is rhubarb. And this Amaro's main ingredient is an ancient Chinese rhubarb that has grown in Trentino Alto Adige in northern Italy for generations now. So that is the primary thing they use for this Amaro, and then a proprietary blend of alpine herbs and sweet alpine berries round out the ingredients list. So, you know, you got the flavors include candied orange peel, celery salt, flint, pickled herbs, green strawberries, not red strawberries, but like very underripe green strawberries, and raspberry preserves. Remember, it's bitter. It's sweet and bitter. It's got, you know, it's rich, it's fruity, it cleans up nicely on the mid palate, according to KNL, and it has a dry, bitter, long finish. And it also pairs, by the way, excellently with mezcal, and can make incredible mezcal-based Negronis. If you want to do that instead of drinking it straight. Me, I'm just one ice cube, and this in a small aperitivo glass is my jam. And, you know, Plague House, it is like it's hefty. It's pulpy, but it is hefty in its themes. It goes places that you're just like, oh shit. This is dark. This needs something bitter. This needs something smoky. Yeah. This needs something that, you know, yes, sweet, because it's still a thrill ride and it's still very exciting, and you just gobble the series up and you want more. And it's definitely also a series that I think even the writer in an interview, he mentioned that he's pretty, like, in his mind, he spelled out what the ending means, like where it all goes and what it all was. He's like, I'm pretty sure I spelled it out that everyone's going to get it, but it's kind of also open to interpretation. So he's pretty, you know, as much as he's like, I'm pretty sure I spelled it out, but if 10 out of a dozen people have a different take, that was also kind of on purpose. Right, is that there's going to be different, certainly in subtle ways at the very least, like kind of the broad strokes, you get what's going on, but then what does it all mean, and how does it connect to certain characters, and where did every single scene come from? It's a little loosey-goosey. It's a little, you got to think about this series even after you're done. It is definitely a thought-provoking one. So sipping something slow, long, bitter, slightly sweet, and you're just nursing it. It's dark, it's rich, it's smoky, it's fruity. I mean, it was perfect. So, Amaro Sfumato Rabarbaro. That is what my pairing is. That is my pairing. And by the way, this is also, I noted, I did not get this from KNL Wines, but it is listed on their website. You can get it at KNL Wines. I got this at a place called Bar and Garden. down in on Venice Boulevard, kind of Culver City-ish here in LA, and it seems to be out there and about there. So yeah, a great Amaro, great balance of the bitter and the sweet. Highly recommended from Trentino Alto Adige. That's my parent.
Cool. Sweet. Yeah.
Cool.
Kind of want to taste that
All
one.
right, so. Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's gonna last me a while. We'll see if when we next
It is
get
Amaro.
together,
That's
you
true.
know, it's an Amaro. It's gonna be a while. Yeah, it's gonna be in the fridge in small pours for a while, and it's a full 750 milliliter bottle. These things take some time.
Oh, wow.
All right, so before we start to talk individually about what we thought of this comic, let's talk a little bit about the comic itself, just in terms of facts and where it came from and all that fun stuff, and the creative team. So the creative team behind Plague House is accomplished, to say the least. Both Michael Conrad, David Chisholm, they have diehard fans around the world. By the way, I picked up this comic series because I am a diehard fan of David Chisholm. I've got his Enter the Blue graphic novel here, this is one that Chisholm even did. He wrote it. He did all the art on it. He's one-man show. He did absolutely everything in that one. Beautiful. And it's all about the history of jazz and a modern day trumpet player trying to make it as a jazz musician. It's wonderful. So I followed him on Blue Sky and Twitter back in the days when I was on Twitter, and now just on Blue Sky. And, you know, I bought this sight unseen and it blew me away. And so when Plague House came out, I was like, oh, he's going to do horror, son of a bitch. All right, I bought it simply I did not know who Michael Conrad was. Surprisingly, because Michael Conrad is by far the more famous of the two in terms of how big the books are that he has worked on. Like Chisholm is very much an independent creator, small press creator. And Conrad is, for the most part, I mean, I don't know if I'd quite call him an industry vet yet. He's very modern, but he has worked on the bigs. He has worked for predominantly DC Comics, but the books include Wonder Woman, Batgirls, Nightwing. He's even tackled classics like Godzilla, Dracula, and Boris Karloff. His creator-owned works, though, and he has done those as well, such as this one, Plague House. But creator-owned works include Tremor Dose, Double Walker, and Neptune. All of which cater to the tastes of discerning audiences who embrace the odd, as you will find out if you read Plague House. Now, Dave Chisholm, he is graphic novelist, graduate of the Eastman School of Music in 2013. He is a jazz trumpeter, and his creativity and improvisation skills blend seamlessly into his comic work, resulting in some critically acclaimed music-centric comics and graphic novels, including that Enter the Blue, which I just mentioned, and also Spectrum from Mad Cave Studios, Miles Davis and the Search for the Sound, and Chasing the Bird, Charlie Parker in California, which was released as a graphic novel plus an instrumental original soundtrack by Z2 Comics. Z2, by the way, does a lot of music-based graphic novels. That's one of their big claims to fame, but that's not the only thing they do, but they predominantly do that. Variant covers of Plague House have been provided by Brian Level, Noah Bailey, who worked with Michael Conrad on Wonder Woman, Black and Gold, and Tremor Dose. Nathan Uten, 2 O's, T-E-N, Nathan Uten, who worked with Conrad on Neptune, and Alex Ekman-Lawn, who some of you might know from, he's done a ton. He actually is an industry vet, but like Mouse Guard, Legends of the Guard, and Art Brut, which Art Brut is one. I haven't read it yet, but I actually bought, that's another 4-issue limited series from Image Comics, and I do own that as well, but I haven't read it yet, so you might see that on this podcast in the near future. All right. Oh, and by the way, other titles we mentioned Oni Press is doing this genre mashup slate. The slate includes Mine is a Long, Lonesome Grave by Justin Jordan and Chris Sheehan, Free for All by Patrick Horvath, Out of Alcatraz by Christopher Cantwell and Tyler Crook, and The Goddamn Tragedy by Chris Condon and Sean. I'm going to do another. So, The Goddamn Tragedy by Chris Condon and Sean Karunaru. Yeah, Karunaru. Yeah, you're right. Karunaru. So Chris Condon and Sean Karunaru. So sorry, Sean.
So sorry, Sean. We're gonna have to slice you saying the Amaro word and Karunaru together and put that at the top of the show.
Rabarbaro,
Karunaru.
Karunaru.
Sounds like a vocal warm up.
Yes, it does.
Fantastic. All right. So I was personally curious about the art as it walks this fine line between cartoonish and this fine line illustration, which is really evident in the gruesome moments, for me at least. The gruesomeness happens, and the face scenes or profiles of the characters, they get a little cartoonish when the focal point lands on them after something gruesome happens. And it was really arresting to me because it was a little cheeky. There's a little cheeky. It's that cartoonish thing that always lands a little cheeky for me. And anyway, I was curious if there was any info on this in terms of Chisholm's approach. And I found an interview about Plague House when he stated that he read a ton of Alex Toth's work. That's Toth.
Yeah.
I was familiar, of course, with the name, but like much of the info in my head, it sometimes floats around the back of my head until something engages it. But for those who don't know, Alex Toth was an illustrator and comic artist known as one of the greats. Toth's ability to master medium sets him apart in the world of art, and it's his ability to seamlessly blend the cartoony with realism that Chisholm seems to have responded to, especially in preparation for Plague House. In preparation for this episode, going back and looking at Toth's resume is, man, wow.
Yeah.
From Space Ghost to, Midday's Batman, it's impressive.
He's up there with like Wally Wood and Neil Adams and like these names, Jack Kirby, these names that are kind of just pure legendary in the comics world.
Sure. And again, it was one of those things, like I said, you know this about me, Dave. There's a lot of information in my head, and sometimes you have to put a quarter in to access it and to retrieve it. And this is one of those things when I went down that rabbit hole, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, this guy is kind of he is through and through one of the legends. And he wasn't necessarily one of the guys out in front trying to get all the fame and glory. He was just sort of working his ass off decade after decade after decade. So good on you, Chisholm, for taking that inspiration. Anyhow, reviews for this thing, Plague House, are glowing with terms like new classic being thrown around. It resonates with me because I am always focused on new mythos. I'm a new classic. I'm a new classic. Exactly. Exactly. I am always focused on new mythos, new classics, and writing future standards, especially now. Like, now is the time where we should be getting that work that lasts for the next 100 years, because shit's just going left and things are getting real Mad Maxy in the world. So I hope you guys are putting pen to paper and writing about the times we're in, and, thinking about the future and creating new mythos and, just putting that sort of toil and strain artistically into something. If you are, great. If you aren't, you suck. But go read someone's work who is doing that. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
So, thoughts on the story. Actually, I want to start with something you said earlier. You called this a genre mashup. So I'm curious, because what do you think it's mashing up? What would those genres be for you?
Well, I think specifically in terms of the horror elements. Let's see. Where did I not put that in? You get in this piece, you're getting monster in the house. If you guys are unfamiliar with that, that's the concept where, a building or an entity has some sort of specter or ghost. So you're getting what ostensibly is a ghost story, but you're also getting, you get haunted house, ghost story. You are also getting this sort of motley crew of characters who are sort of intrepid in a way. The ghost hunters with their, with their own baggage. On top of that, you get this other layer, which kind of stands in that plague zone where there's this evil that must be contained, right? There's this sort of thing that can't be let out. And another layer for me is the kind of true crime element. So that's essentially what I mean in terms of the genre, the horror genre mashup of this. It is sort of weaving all those things together. And I will say, when I first read synopsis of what they were doing, I wasn't sold. I was like,
Oh,
100%.
So I don't know what the synopsis sounded like when you read. Was it the same synopsis that we read earlier?
No, that one I wrote. No.
Okay, Kurt. Okay, cool. So I don't know what the synopsis was. Remember how I said I bought this comic series just because it was Dave Chisholm?
That's right.
And I was like, yeah,
that's
okay,
right.
F it.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, I'll support him by buying an Oni comic series because I know like Enter the Blue is something. I think it's Z2 Comics, and I mean it was basically a passion project. It was all him, right? A one-man show type of graphic novel. So this was one where it's like, I did not know who Michael Conrad was, shockingly, mostly because I don't read the big two very much these days. So I'm like, I missed your era, man. I'm sorry. But you're apparently kind of a bigwig in the comics world, so cool. And after this series, I'm definitely curious, at least to read his other creator-owned series for sure. So I bought this kind of sight unseen, and I will say, reading issue number 1, I did not read any synopses. I try not to. It's just like I try not to watch.
Me
trailers.
too, in general.
But
I tuck in for this one. Yeah.
Okay. So normally, if it's something about the creative team or something about the title, the basic premise, like the one-liner, the log line, and then of course something in comics, I will have to gauge. Is it ongoing or is it limited series? Because how much am I committing to here? So if it's going to be an ongoing series, I'm like, not unless it is just like, I cannot live without this. I'm pretty sure. Like I have to read it, especially if I'm buying it issue by issue. Whereas miniseries, I'm like, okay, look, 4 issues. Cool. I can just like the creative team, and it's in a genre I like. And I literally did not read the log line. I refused. I just like bought the series, and I didn't read the series until it had all come out. So I sat down with all 4 issues. Now I'm also I like comics especially, but generally in storytelling as well. I like to parcel shit out. So I grew up with comics. It trained my brain to parcel shit out, like 1 comic a month. Now I don't do that, but I did do 1 comic a day. And I read all 4 issues over the course of 4 nights. And I refused to let myself read more than 1 every single night. And yeah.
I did the exact same thing. That was the kind of okay, we got to talk about this real quick. That was what was so interesting about the way this piece was written. Dave knows for a while I've been on this kick about sort of reframing my life in sort of, setting the dial back to more analog times, right? To the way my consumption habits were when I was a little younger and it wasn't inundated with overstimulation and, constant streams of everything. And weeks ago, I would have gotten this and read it all in a day while sitting doing something else. But after I happened to read the first issue in bed with my table light, and I was like, oh wait, this is a proper little ghost story. Oh, okay, I'm gonna sit in this thing's arms here for a while, and I'm not gonna just just drink this thing in. So I did the exact same thing. It's almost like the piece itself required it to me.
Yes. And for me, reading that first issue, especially not even knowing the log line or anything like that, I started the first few pages, and thankfully I read in an interview by Michael Conrad, the writer, that this was intentional. So this gave me even more respect for him as a writer when I found out this was intentional. But the first half of issue 1 is very by the numbers. It's very Ghost Hunters, doing the
Yeah.
thing. And in the interview, Michael
It's
Conrad was like,
MapQuest
yeah,
directions.
I wanted you to be like, yes. Michael Conrad was like, yep, you've been here, you've done this, you know what it is, it's almost boring. You're like, now you have expectations, you think everything's going to be dominoes falling, it's going to be A, B, then C, no surprises. You've watched these ghost hunting stories so many times by 2025 that it's like there will be no surprises. And just by the end of the first issue, you realize, oh no, this isn't any of that. This is about something completely different, and we're going to be exploring other things through this very generic setup of ghost hunters going to haunted houses. But you quickly realize the main character is not who he thinks he is. By the end of issue 1, you realize he's an unreliable narrator, but it's all through his POV. And that's intriguing right from the get-go. And the fact that he's our ostensible hero, and you quickly realize, he's keeping secrets from the rest of the team that they should probably know, but he's like, I got this all under control. And every step of the way, this comic series is basically a journey into losing control over things you think you have control over. And it's one of the journeys. It's not the only journey.
Yeah.
But
no, I'd agree with that.
One of the core journeys. It's kind of a tale, like one of the cautionary tales within this is hubris, right? Where it's like, I'm the smart one. I'm the one who can figure out these haunted houses. My team isn't quick enough to keep up with me. And so they're missing certain things, and they might suffer for that, but I figured things out and I got this under control. And even by the end of the first issue, you're like, oh, that's loosey-goosey. I don't know about this. Like, there's already hints that might not be true. And then as the series go, it gets dark. It gets dark. So, yeah, I appreciated that through the roof.
Yeah. I think one of the strong suits of the writing and is the character development. They really do. He does a really good job of... like we said, there's this motley crew of characters, these ghost hunters, and they're all completely different. And in the space of the first 21 pages, you walk away knowing precisely what you need to know, who each of these characters are for the most part. He does a great job of drawing these profiles, and it's not forced, but like you said, it's kind of by the numbers, but it's through the action, through the interplay between the characters that you find all this stuff out, like with the character Holland, who's trying to... Okay, can't get too deep into the character work here, but yes, the characters are great, and I took a couple of notes in terms of the character work here. That's saying a lot because I know everything.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm telling you, I read this series and I was like, oh, fuck, I got to give this to Dallas. Like, not just in I wonder what he'll think about it. I knew it. There was something interesting about this where I don't always know your taste or your predilections in terms of narrative and storytelling and whatnot. I have some inkling, but I'm not going to pretend that like I've got a clear view into it. But this one, I read it and I was like, I appreciated this. He's going to love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, there was something about this where I'm like, it's even more his jam than mine, and it's quite mine. Yeah. And let's talk about the variant covers real quick. Have you seen the variant covers, Dave? Yeah. No, not really.
Oh, okay,
I'm sure I did when I was, but at this point, I did not go dig them up. So I had
no worries. Oni Lion Forge.
It's fine. Just call them Oni Press. Just call them Oni Press.
I know.
Two companies combined, folks. It was Lion Forge and Oni Press, and they merged together, and now they're just this clusterfuck of a name. Just call them Oni Press.
Yes, Oni Press. I have to applaud whoever idea it was to do these sort of genre mashup, quick, limited release, limited series, because they are really satisfying. This has sold me. I'm wading through the entire series because of this one. And
nice.
Yeah, I really am. I really, really, really am. They're doing the Lord's work, as the kids say, with this sort of genre mashup. Because it kind of knocks the dust off of, like you said, with this one,
Absolutely.
Act One definitely is by the numbers, but by the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, there's energy here going in places I'm not expecting, and
You're ready to yawn, and then you're wide
yeah,
awake.
precisely. That's a quote of the night, by the way. That's a pull quote for this series. But yeah, the variant covers are fantastic. They spent great time finding the right creators to flesh out the visuals and imagery for this. So all around, I'm saying this is probably the most satisfying little comic read I've had in a little while.
Nice.
Really is. So good choice,
Nice.
Dave.
I'm taking
Bravo.
absolutely. Oh, yeah, I'm taking sole credit for it.
Oh, I
Absolutely.
know. I know. I
I
didn't even
wrote
have to
it. I
tell
did the
you
art.
that. I know. I'm aware. Trust me.
I published it.
I
I
published
got it
it.
into your hand. I bought it.
That's right.
I'm the only one who bought it because I made it. No, it's
Exactly.
one of those things. Only my friends and family.
That's right.
But they all bought it and they all loved it. And I'm a pretty princess. Anyway, thoughts on the Chisholm's art specifically, and I want to actually kick this one off because
Yeah.
do you have an issue of Plague House? Because do you have them on hand? Do you have one that you can
Yeah.
hold a couple
Hold
pages
on.
up to the camera? Okay.
Okay, guys. That is the
So
cover.
hold it up.
of
There's the
course.
cover.
Let's go
And then do some
here.
interiors, and you can see the style of Chisholm's art here.
Title page. Right, that's our opening landing image. You got a house in the background. You've got their van of goodies there.
The van. Ghost
Right.
Hunter van, of course. It's always a
Right.
van.
You can see based on posture. Another thing, he does a great job with posture in this. We know what this character's about already based on her posture. Here, she is really not terribly interested. Got some other stuff here. Look at the shadow work. I mean, these panels
The
down
shadow
here,
work.
that darkness.
And note that there's a lot of texture,
Yeah.
some scratchiness, some a little bit of sketchiness to everything, and that is because this is a very agitated, a very dark, shadowy elements. Like even when it's colorful, there's a lot of texture to this line work, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold up by comparison some Into the Blue pages and whatnot here.
Mhm. Yeah.
Where hopefully you can see it's the same artist, right? And
Yep.
it's similar, but you can see how much he chose to make this much cleaner.
Right.
Like the inking, especially in Enter the
Right.
Blue, the coloring, much more cleaner, brighter, not as many shades, not as many, like it's all there, because this is not a horror story. So it's like
Exactly.
so much of Chisholm's art changes as soon and he colored, I believe he colored, actually, don't quote me on the coloring. Let me make 100% certain about that before I claim, but I'm pretty sure he is the sole artistic anybody on this.
This
Yes.
panel here. This panel right here. This is the one.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one. Oh man. That one right
And
there.
don't forget, this is mostly a podcast, so don't go too deep into this.
Well, somebody's looking. If you're looking, look away. If you're listening, go look.
And look away. On YouTube, I'm trying to do these as videos again on YouTube. So if you look on YouTube and don't listen to this on whatever podcasting platform you're on, you can see the art pages. But you can also just Google Plague House and Enter the Blue and compare. There'll be pictures online. And compare the two art styles. So Chisholm, I like how much range he has in these guys. And the art in this, that he was able to be this evocative, and this is very kind of Alex Toth like that texture and those the play with shadows and whatnot. And I will also say that Spectrum from Mad Cave Comics, which is another Alex Chisholm one, that one's been getting, I've not read it yet. I'm very eager to read it. I did not buy that one sight unseen, but I need to now because that one everyone's been raving about that one. Apparently it's like what it does with the medium too is apparently really, really interesting. So that's one to take a look at as well. And any other thoughts on the art there, D?
Yeah, I like you said, it feels like that. I generally respond to that. What's it called? It's the line work, the shadow work. That kind of. It feels like scratch work. That's what I call it. It feels like scratch work. As a matter of fact, you mentioned Benighted, and the art in Benighted, because it is mostly black and white. It has that. You used the line work to show dimension, and it feels like that's at the core of what he's doing, even though his color palette is so dense and dynamic. It feels like he's using lots of line work to show dimension with the color. So the art is also creepy when it needs to be creepy. The colors are well saturated. Yeah, it walks that line between. I'm not going to say that. It feels like a labor of fucking love, and I know it's probably not. It's probably not a proper labor of love. I'm sure they loved it, but it
Mhm.
feels intentioned, and it's just good storytelling.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, everybody, that is going to be Plague House by Michael Conrad and Dave Chisholm, which you can find from Oni Press. I believe the graphic novel might be up for pre-order right now, and will be coming out very, very soon, if not like in the next month or two. So look for the graphic novel soon, now that this series has already been done, because usually only a couple months later will they do the graphic novel. Yeah.
January 2026 through Oni Press. They're taking pre-order. I mean, sorry, through Simon Schuster. They are taking pre-orders
Mm.
now.
All right, beautiful. And it's coming out in January. So there you go. Make sure to check that out. And once again, my wine, I would pair it with this beautiful Amaro Sfumato Rabarbaro. And also make sure to watch, to read The Goddamn Tragedy by Chris Condon and Sean Korunoru. And over to you, Dallas, once again. What do you have?
Okay. I have that 2018 Syrah, that Sonoma Coast, sorry, the 2018 Red Car Sonoma Coast Syrah. Or any lovely Syrah.
And
Go get
Sean,
a
I'm so
great,
sorry
lovely
if I ever
Syrah.
meet you in real life. I'm going to say your name just like in an Italian accent, a bad Italian accent. Korunaru. Obviously that is not an Italian you. Korunaru. I'm just like this is how it has to be from this point forward.
That's classic.
That's all that I got to say. All right, folks, go check all that stuff out. And thanks so much for listening. Once again, as always, make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button if you have listened to this and you have not subscribed or followed already, because that helps this podcast grow. It helps us reach new listeners. The algorithm loves it and will finally show us to new people. We hate our old people. We have to find new people. And so please do that. And also find us on our Substack, vintertainmentstudios.com, glorified URL, vanity URL that takes you to our Substack. And that's where you can interact with us. We do many additional articles on wine, on film, on comics, on books, on entertainment. And you can also support us. If you love what we do, you can support us. We don't have a Patreon, we have a Substack. And Substack is where for $2 a month, you can support this publication and podcast. That is priced for modern day where everyone's hurting. No one's doing that crazy well. And we're all trying to support all the creators we want to support every month with our measly disposable income dollars. And so $2 a month, you can support us as well if you desire to. And $19.60 a year, don't ask, weird price, but Substack is like that. So $19.60 a year. Or if you're a big time spender and you're not hurting as much as other people, hey, you know what? For $50 a year, one time per year, you can become a producer of this podcast and publication. And for that, you get to commission an episode. Tell us what you want us to cover and pair with wine. We will do that. And you also get a shout out every episode. So on that note, our first 3 producers, shout out to Kate Rochelle of survivesonwine.substack.com. She has her own Substack. She's a Portuguese wine expert, knows more about Portuguese wine than me. I just hawk it here on the LA streets, but she actually studies the dumb things. And she does amazing visual tasting notes. She just did one this past week, and Tinta Cow, Portuguese grape, and they're amazing. If you go check her out just to see what those visual tasting notes are. They're one of my favorite things that she does. Also, Jessica Mason of monsteroftheweek.substack.com. Jessica is a graphic novelist herself, Mary Shelley's School for Monsters, and she's also a novelist, Plastic Girl Trilogy. Go check her out. Her work is fantastic. And also, last but not least, Paul Kalamkiarian of the podcast Wine Talks with Paul K. His podcast is better than ours. I guarantee he's been doing this for a very long time. We are still new and young and upstart and full of it. We are the, like the main character in the comic, we are the, what did I just call? The unreliable narrator. We are unreliable narrators. He is very
To be
reliable.
fair, that's my
We are
favorite
unreliable
kind of
podcasters. I know. But we are unreliable podcasters. He is a very reliable podcaster.
That's right.
Go check those three guys out. And we will be back in 1 week with another Wine in Comics, not necessarily, with another Wine and Entertainment pairing for your entertainment. Ciao for now. Oh, and I did want to announce, by the way, we might start slowing down for a touch here and start to go every other week with the podcast, because we are also trying to launch some TikTok channels and a lot of social media presence. We're starting to put a lot of time and effort into that. And this podcast might have to slow down just a teeny bit for a little while we get our grip on all these new projects and all these new activities and whatnot. So if that starts to happen, don't be surprised. But I believe we will be back next week with another Wine and Entertainment pairing for your entertainment. So we will check you then, and ciao for now.
See you later, guys.
And yeah, the only thing I changed about the questions, I took away rosé because it's not a variety, it's a category, and threw in Pinot Noir as a variety. Yeah.
Smart. That's why you're here.
That's the only reason why I'm here.
That's the only reason you're here.